I, 26F, need to talk about what happened at my dad's wedding rehearsal dinner last weekend. My parents divorced when I was 12, and my dad got primary custody since my mom worked late shifts as a nurse. I lived with my dad throughout middle and high school while seeing my mom during holidays and summer breaks. My early childhood was pretty normal. My parents seemed happy, we had Sunday family brunches, took yearly beach trips to Florida, and spent holidays with both sides of the family. My mom and dad both came to all my school events. I remember my mom would bake cookies for my elementary school bake sales while my dad helped me with science projects. We were close, all three of us. Things started changing when I was around 10. My dad began working late more often. He'd miss our family dinners and started taking a lot of business trips. My mom tried to keep things normal, but I could tell she was worried. She'd call his office late at night, and he wouldn't answer. When she asked about his trips, he'd get angry and tell her to stop checking up on him. When I was 12, they finally divorced. My mom took a nursing job in another state because she said she needed a fresh start. I stayed with my dad because he had a more stable schedule, and I didn't want to leave my school and friends. 3 years after the divorce, when I was 15, my dad introduced me to Gina, 36F. She worked at his company and had a daughter Selena, now 16F, from her previous marriage. Gina seemed nice at first. She'd bring me shopping, help me with homework, and include me in activities with Selena. I actually liked having her around because my dad seemed happier. But small things started bothering me. Gina would go through my phone when I wasn't around, claiming she was just checking if I needed any new apps. She'd rearrange my room without asking, saying she was helping me organize. When I tried to call my mom, Gina would hover nearby, listening to our conversations. The real problems started when I turned 18. Gina began suggesting out-of-state colleges, even though I had a full scholarship to our local university. She'd leave college brochures from California and Florida on my desk. When I said I wanted to stay local, she told my dad I was being too dependent and needed to learn independence. My dad changed too. He stopped coming to my room to say goodnight, something he'd done since I was little. He missed my high school graduation dinner because Gina planned a work event the same evening. When I got accepted to the local university, he didn't even seem happy. Last year, they announced their engagement. Gina took over wedding planning immediately. She picked bridesmaid dresses without asking if I wanted to be in the wedding. When I brought it up, she said she assumed I wouldn't want to participate since I was busy with college. The truth came out 2 months ago. I was using my dad's laptop to print some assignments. He had told me I could use it any time for schoolwork. While looking for my document folder, I clicked on an old email archive. Inside were hundreds of emails between my dad and Gina from before my parents' divorce. The emails went back to when I was 9 years old. They had been meeting at hotels during lunch breaks and after work. Gina had created a fake client account to hide their meetings from her husband. They planned weekend trips by telling their spouses they had work conferences. The worst part was reading their messages about my mom. When my mom suspected something was wrong, they'd laugh about how paranoid she was being. Gina suggested a therapist who was actually her friend, and they used the therapy sessions to convince my mom she was imagining things. I spent weeks gathering evidence. I found hotel receipts in my dad's old tax files. Gina had used her company credit card for their meetings and filed them as business expenses. I even found old photos they'd send each other while both were still married. The rehearsal dinner was last weekend. Gina's whole family was there, including her ex-husband who had come to support Selena. Everyone was eating and laughing while Gina gave a speech about how she and my dad met at a company conference and fell in love. I couldn't take the lies anymore. I stood up and played a voicemail I'd found on my dad's old phone, where Gina was planning their hotel meetup while her ex-husband was at his father's funeral. Then I showed everyone the emails where they mocked my mom's suspicions. Gina tried to grab my phone, but I kept going. I read out emails where they planned how to hide their affair. I showed bank statements proving they'd been meeting for years before either divorce. Gina's ex-husband looked like he was going to be sick. The whole dinner fell apart. Selena ran out crying when she heard how they'd planned their affair during her 10th birthday party. My grandparents left immediately. My grandfather told my dad not to call until he found his conscience. Gina's sisters called her disgusting for betraying her husband while he was greeting his father. My dad tried to explain that it wasn't what it looked like, but I played more voicemails. In one, they were laughing about how my mom had cried after finding a hotel receipt, and how my dad had convinced her it was for a business meeting. Gina's ex-husband stood up and told everyone how Gina had made him go to marriage counseling when he found lipstick on my dad's collar at a company party. The wedding has been cancelled. Most guests want refunds for their travel bookings. Gina's family won't talk to her, and Selena is staying with her dad. My dad's siblings have blocked him on everything, and my grandparents returned their wedding gift. My dad and Gina keep saying I should have talked to them privately. They said I just wanted attention and couldn't handle them being happy. Gina told everyone I was jealous because she was going to be my new mom. My dad hasn't spoken to me since that night except to say I betrayed him. I don't feel bad about exposing them, but seeing how upset Selena is makes me wonder if I went too far. Ida? Update 1. The past few weeks have been intense. After the rehearsal dinner incident, people started reaching out to tell me things they knew about my dad and Gina. My old babysitter Jenny contacted me first. She used to watch me when I was 9 to 11 years old while my mom worked night shifts. Jenny told me Gina would come to our house 3 to 4 times a week after my mom left, always saying she had work documents for my dad. She'd stay for hours in my dad's office with the door locked. Jenny said she felt weird about it, but my dad told her it was just work stuff. Gina kept coming to our house even after Jenny left. Our neighbor Mrs. Peterson told me she saw Gina's car parked down the street many nights. Gina would park far from our house and walk over when my mom wasn't home. Mrs. Peterson said she wanted to tell my mom but was afraid of causing problems. After the rehearsal dinner, Gina moved back to her old apartment. She started sending me endless emails. In one, she wrote about how she and my dad were meant to be together. In another, she blamed my mom for not being a good wife. She even sent me a 12-page letter explaining how everything was actually my mom's fault for working night shifts and not paying enough attention to my dad. I talked to Lisa, my mom's friend from the hospital. Lisa told me how Gina used to mess with my mom's work schedule. Gina would call the hospital claiming there were family emergencies, making my mom leave work early. When my mom got home, nothing would be wrong. This happened at least 15 times. Gina did this to make my mom look unreliable at work. My mom almost lost her job because of these fake emergencies. The biggest shock came from Maria, my dad's secretary for the past 8 years. She told me my dad and Gina had bought a 4-bedroom house in Naples, Florida 6 months ago. They paid $750,000 for it. They planned to move there right after the wedding without telling anyone. Gina had already signed Selena up for a private school there, assuming Selena would just go along with their plans. Maria also mentioned the company was having money problems. This made me check my college fund. I found out my dad had taken out $45,000 for the Florida house down payment. He also took out another $20,000 a month later for house renovations. When I confronted him about the missing $65,000, he got angry and said I was ungrateful. He claimed he was going to put it back after selling his beach condo, but I found out he had already sold the condo last year and spent that money too. Selena has been staying with her dad since the dinner. She told me about Gina's past affairs. When Selena was 7, Gina dated her tennis coach Mike for 6 months while still married to Selena's dad. Gina would take Selena to tennis lessons 3 times a week, but they would actually go to Mike's house. Gina made Selena promise not to tell her dad about Mike. Selena started having panic attacks at school from keeping all these secrets. My mom finally opened up about the divorce. Gina had sent weekly anonymous letters to our house for months. These letters had fake details about my mom having affairs with doctors at the hospital. Gina even photoshopped pictures to make it look like my mom was seeing other men. My dad used these fake letters and photos in their divorce case. The judge believed them and limited my mom's custody. My mom lost her house trying to pay legal fees to fight the custody battle. I found out Gina had been reading my texts with my mom for years. She added some spyware to my phone during one of our shopping trips when I was 16. She would tell my dad whenever my mom and I planned to meet up, and suddenly my dad would schedule something important for me that day so I couldn't go. My dad keeps trying to fix things now. He offered to sell the Florida house and pay back my college fund. But in the same conversation, he defended Gina, saying she only did these things because she was afraid of losing him. He said Gina had a rough childhood and that's why she acts this way. He wants me to understand that Gina isn't evil, she's just insecure. Update 2 more truths came out in the past few weeks. Selena was clearing out their storage unit and found 5 journals Gina kept over the years. The journals showed Gina had been planning to divorce my dad as soon as they moved to Florida. She had meetings with 3 different divorce lawyers in Naples. She wrote about wanting half of my dad's retirement fund, $380,000, and the house he inherited from my grandmother, worth about $500,000. Gina had everything planned out. She was going to wait 6 months after moving to Florida, then file for divorce claiming my dad was controlling and emotionally abusive. She wrote about purposely picking fights with him and recording their arguments on her phone to use later. She even made lists of people she could get to testify against him. Tom, Gina's ex-husband's brother, found me on Facebook. He told me Gina's whole story about being abused in her first marriage was fake. She wasn't the victim like she claimed. She actually caused all their problems. She would start fights with Tom's brother, then call the police when he tried to walk away. She did this 4 times until he had to move out of his own house to avoid getting arrested. Gina also lied about Tom's brother gambling away their money. The truth was Gina had spent their savings on expensive clothes and jewelry, then told everyone he had a gambling problem to cover it up. She even convinced their family counselor that he was lying about the money. The counselor later found out the truth and tried to report Gina, but she had already moved on to my dad by then. My dad's business partner Mark called me about finding weird things at their company. Gina had copied all their client files, contact information, contracts, everything. She registered a company called Lead Marketing Solutions in Florida 3 months ago. She rented an office space there and even hired 2 employees already. She was planning to steal my dad's clients for her new business. Gina started telling everyone I faked the evidence from the rehearsal dinner. She posted on Facebook calling me mentally unstable. She told my dad's family I edited the emails and voicemails because I was jealous of her. She even called my university saying she was worried about my mental health and that I needed to be evaluated. Her lies fell apart when Selena shared screenshots of their text conversations. In one message from last year, Gina bragged about sending those anonymous letters during my parents' divorce. She wrote about how easy it was to make my mom look crazy. She even joked about planning to do the same thing to my dad in Florida if he didn't give her what she wanted in their divorce. The photo album situation got cleared up too. For years, Gina told everyone our old family albums were ruined by water damage. She said she had to throw them out. But Selena found all the original albums in their storage unit. Gina had removed every photo that had my mom in it. She kept the photos in a box labeled tax papers thinking no one would look there. Selena brought me the box. It had over 200 photos of me and my mom that I thought were lost forever. Some of my dad's friends from work told me more things. Gina had been planning the Florida move for over a year. She convinced my dad to transfer all his best clients to her so she could help with the workload. Really, she was building relationships with them so they would follow her to her new company. She had already told some clients she was starting her own business and wanted to bring them with her. I found out Gina tried this same plan with her first husband. She opened a fitness studio while married to him, got all her paperwork ready, then tried to divorce him and take the business. Her plan only failed because he found out and reported her for using his business credit card to set up her studio. After hearing all this, I talked to a lawyer about my college fund. During our meetings, we found out Gina had been stealing from Selena's college account too. She took out $30,000 last year claiming it was for Selena's private school tuition. Really, she used it to pay rent on her secret apartment in Florida where she was setting up her new business. Selena's dad is now suing her to get that money back. Update 3: The legal battle ended last month. My dad finally paid back all my college fund money plus interest. The court ordered him to pay within 30 days or face criminal charges. He sold the Florida house to get the money. Gina lost her job after her company investigated her. They found out she had been using company resources for her affair for years. She had charged hotel rooms as business expenses and used company cars for their meetings. She moved to Florida anyway, but none of her plans worked out. Selena decided to stay with her dad permanently. She told the court about Gina making her lie about the tennis coach affair when she was younger. Gina lost all visitation rights because of her history of involving Selena in her lies. My mom got closure after all these years. Her old therapist admitted that Gina had asked her to write reports saying my mom was paranoid. The therapist lost her license for falsifying medical records. My mom's new fiancé is actually a decent person who treats her with respect. Some of my dad's relatives think I should forgive him because he paid back the money. They say he was manipulated by Gina and deserves another chance. But they don't know that he's still defending her. He told my grandparents that Gina only lied because she was scared of losing him. I moved to a new apartment and changed my phone number. I only talk to my aunt, my mom, and Selena now. My aunt lets me know if there's any important family news, but otherwise, I don't want to hear about my dad or Gina. Last week, Gina tried to friend request me from a fake account. She sent a message saying she wanted to explain her side of the story. I blocked the account without responding. She made her bed, now she can lie in it. My dad sent me a birthday card saying he misses his little girl and wants to make things right. I returned it unopened. Some people say I'm being too harsh, but they didn't live through years of lies and manipulation. I've learned that sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away. I'm focusing on finishing my degree and building my own life now. Selena visits me sometimes, and we've become good friends. We both understand what it's like to have Gina as a parent. Sometimes family isn't about blood, it's about who stands by you when things get tough. People ask if I regret exposing them at the rehearsal dinner. I don't. They had years to tell the truth and chose not to. They only started apologizing when they got caught. That's not real remorse, that's just damage control.